Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another night of the Chem Valley Show. This is episode number 2, day number 2 of lockdown here in Ontario. Unfortunately, we're on a 28-day lockdown. Unlike my friend who's joining me here today, seems like his life hasn't really changed too much. He's still winning championships and having a lot of fun over there in the States. So I'm excited to have him on here today. I had him on my first ever show I did back in October of 2019. I can't even believe it's been that long since the first Chem Valley Wrestling show, but he was there on the first one. Joining me now all the way from Ohio, Jock Samson. How's it going, Jock?
Hey, Aaron. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. How have things been? I see you've been...
Things been good, man.
Yeah, see you've been winning championships and not much has changed over there for you.
Winning championships and getting drunk. The things that only an Appalachian boy can do,
Perfect. And you enjoyed your holidays, obviously?
Oh, man, my daughter got way too much. So I'm going to open up a bottle of West Virginia wine here while we're doing this.
Amazing. Perfect.
But, yeah, we had a good Christmas. My daughter got a hoverboard, and she's been sitting around the house and playing that. I've been playing her Nintendo Switch games, and we had family over. It was a good time.
That's awesome. Really I seen the hoverboard video. That was pretty awesome.
She's a huge Hulk Hogan fan.
You've trained her well, obviously.
Yes, she don't know who any modern day guys are at all.
And if I remember correctly, you told me you named her after was it the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yep, her name is Scarlet Gray.
Okay, I do remember that correctly. My memory is not too foggy from that night.
Yeah, here she is. Hang on a sec. She heard her name. Come here.
Oh, perfect.
Come on, say hi,
hello,
everybody.
Hi. Hey, how's it going? Hi from Canada.
They're from Canada. Hey, tell Aaron who, besides your daddy, who's your favorite wrestler? Who's your favorite wrestler of all time? Besides me. Are you going to get bashful? No. Are you getting bashful on me?
No. Is it Channing Decker?
No, she met Channing once.
Did she? Nice.
Hulk Hogan, right? Yes. And who else? What action figure did I get you for Christmas? What wrestling action? Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I got that. All right, give Dad a kiss. I love you. Thank you. All right, now I can be nasty and mean now. She put her headphones on.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, that Sean from Scumbags of Wrestling is saying Merry Christmas to you and I. Let's start off with talking a little bit about how you got into wrestling and when you started out. When did you fall in love with wrestling? Let's start out with that.
Well, I've done this. I've answered this question. Any podcast I've ever been on since the day I got in the wrestling business 15 years ago. But, I didn't fall in love with it 15 years ago. When I was a little kid, I'm 41 years old. We used to have videotapes instead of DVDs. And now, you can buy stuff on TV, So every Friday and Saturday, my mom, you could rent a VHS tape for $1 a night. So whatever you do. So I'd go in there, my mom would give me $4 or $5. I'd get whatever, 5 movies. And then I look up and I've got all the good movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I got all the Puppet Masters and anything, I got them fresh. Critters, all those terrible B movies that Rhonda Up All Night Shear would always have on there. But then I look up at this there's a store called LS. There's a hardware store in my hometown in Nelsonville, Ohio. And I see this picture of these 2 big men. One guy was huge, but the other guy was 10 times bigger than him. And it was Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant just looking at each other. So I got the VHS, I got the tape, and I went home, and in this moment Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre, I was hooked. And when he did his routine of putting his hand to his ears and flexing, I said that day I wanted to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah. And what was it like growing up in Ohio, being a wrestling fan? Was there a lot of wrestling going on as a kid to go watch, or
No, not really. We
No.
had, we got the WWF. I watched a lot of those Prime tapings, and we didn't even have pay-per-view
Yeah.
when I was a kid because I live in the redneck, rural, small town part of Ohio and southeastern Ohio. Every part of Ohio is usually flat, except you come down to my part called the Hocking Hills, and then the Wayne National Forest, and it's all hills. And we never had pay-per-view. If my rich friends would always bootleg a tape for me and tape it and give it to me, and I'd watch it and whatever.
Yeah.
But there really wasn't a lot of wrestling fans, so I would watch the WWF shows as a kid, and then I would always watch the Saturday night the WCW NWA 605 on TBS. I'd always watch them, and then after school every day at 4 o'clock I would watch Dallas wrestling, Von Erichs and Rick Rude and
Oh wow.
all them. So, and I grew up watching all that, and that's how I fell in love with wrestling. Is I never fell in love with wrestling for the wrestling. I fell in love for the personalities and the people.
So what was your first experience? Besides obviously watching that video that you brought home that day, what was your first experience with a live show or a school, or
Okay.
even in high school? What kind of sports were you playing in high school that maybe steered you more towards choosing to become a professional wrestler?
Well, actually, my first experience going to a professional wrestling show was in 1990, and up in Columbus, Ohio, a place called the Horizon Center, right downtown. It's where the blue right now where the Blue Jackets and all that. Everything in Columbus, Ohio is in this district, the Stadium District. Beautiful
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
It used to be awful, but now it's beautiful, and it's just something. Blue Jackets is a great place to go watch a hockey game too, but
Yeah.
I'll come back to that later. But I remember the match that I wanted to watch that day. It was like in December. The main events were always the first half of the show. Was always the show match right before intermission. The match was the Macho King, the newly crowned Macho King Randy Savage versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan, with Sherry Martel in Macho's corner. And I was praying that Hacksaw was going to get his crown back, and I just couldn't get enough of it. And I loved Hacksaw Jim Duggan as a kid, and I just remember going there and watching it. And I still remember Hacksaw won by disqualification, which they probably was that on the whole loop anyway.
Yeah.
And then the main event that night, well, not the main event, but the last match of the night was the Big Boss Man and the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, if you will, baby.
Yeah.
And I still remember a fan threw a beer can about 60 yards, 60 feet probably. I'm exaggerating. I was 10. And tagged the Big Boss Man right in the face. Flush, and blood started pouring out of his face.
No.
This is a beer can. They sold beer cans at these events.
Right.
Real hard beer cans. And only thing I remember is as soon as it hit him in the face, people reacted and everyone watched. So the guy ran out and watched the cop security go get him. And then Dusty Rhodes gets up and starts firing back on him, giving him all that Dusty Rhodes bullshit that he did, all that good shit.
Wow.
And so
that's incredible. So you grew up on the good shit.
I tell you, man, any wrestling in the 70s, 80s, and 90s was the good shit.
And that's something I want to talk to you about today in the interview, because I know you've been around for a lot of the great eras of wrestling, and you're obviously still doing it now today. Winning belts, obviously. Was this one just this summer?
Yeah, that was the IWC Championship belt there in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Elizabeth. Yeah, I won that in a minor league baseball stadium. That's one of that belt goes back 17 years. CM Punk had the belt.
Did they stop doing shows at all throughout the pandemic? Because I think it was that promotion. I watched a video. I think it was on Ethan Page's vlog, and it was the promoter did like probably one of the best pre-show speeches I had ever seen right before the pandemic, and you guys didn't know when you guys were going to be wrestling again. Is that promotion?
That's that one promotion there. They basically took off in like March. Well, after they had their last show on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Because all I remember is I was booked into a promo, and that was all I was booked for, a pre-show promo
Right.
that was going to be shown on the screen. And the COVID stuff was coming down because I just got back from Greektown the week before, so I worked it out to where I show up and do the pre-show promo. They pay me, and I was coming home.
Yeah.
And I still remember that. That was IWC. They took it off until like August.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the state of Pennsylvania was really cracking down hard on the COVID.
Speaking of the state of Pennsylvania, you're a Steelers fan?
I am a Steelers fan.
I didn't know that, so I brought something up. I have something for you. I thought I'd bring it out with their win today.
Ooh, about time. Ooh.
Yeah, well, hey, I can't say the same about my Rams, unfortunately, but we won't talk about that. We'll stay on the wrestling topic today. Although I did find a picture of you from your football days.
Oh my gosh! Look at that kid.
That was before, obviously, the Jock Samson era began. When did the Jock Samson era begin, and when did you kind of go into a wrestling school and kind of pursue professional wrestling as a career?
Well, I waited a few years after I graduated high school because, believe it or not, I was actually in a country music band, and we played and toured and went all over the place. Which is, a lot of people don't know that, and about
I
the
can
age
see
of
a collaboration coming up with our good friend Corey James Mitchell, possibly.
Oh man, I would love it. I want to sing a little Whiskey Benton Hell Bound, baby.
Yes.
But I hit, I did that till I was about 25 years old, and I liked playing music, but I wasn't in love with it. Only thing I could think about was watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was living in a little town in southeastern Ohio called Logan, Ohio, and I ran into a bunch of guys, and they were doing some kind of outlaw promotion, and I had no idea. And this, I think it was about, it was 04, 05. And they wanted me to come in, and I guess I could talk more bullshit than anybody that they had. And they said, "Hey, do you want to be a manager?" And I'm over here looking at them. I said, "Guys, I'm over here bench pressing 400 pounds at this time. And you want me to be a manager?" I said, "Sure, I'll be a manager."
Yeah.
Eventually, it worked my way in to where I met a guy named Brian Logan, who was a Disciples of Sin in OVW, the one who had Jim Cornette's wife, the one she managed, one had Batista. And I ran into someone that knew him, and then I got trained through him properly.
Right.
And then I had my first match, and I won it by accident. And I can't tell you who it was that I had in the match, but I won it by accident.
Wow.
And but went through a real vigorous training process. I'm glad it was done that way. It was so hard to do. I think I believe I'm the last guy left from that class that's still actively wrestling.
How much has the training changed from back then to now? I don't know if you're around any of the schools or if you train any students yourself, but how much has it changed from back then to now?
It's a lot easier now. It's a lot nicer. They weren't trying to make sure that everybody can do wrestling. He wasn't trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to make sure that there was someone in here who was going to respect wrestling. Like I'm telling you, it's like 400 or 500 air squats a day. We're allowed in the ring for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Calisthenics, just the hard way. We had 15 in my class, and I think we graduated 4. I think there's another guy left, but people just dropping off left and right because it was just too hard. They thought wrestling was easy. I think training should be harder because it's a hard business.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be easy just to, get involved in it and say, "Hey, I want to be a wrestler." There's nothing wrong with wrestling not being for everybody. I mean, you can still enjoy wrestling by watching it, even if you're not involved. It's not for everybody physically. It's very hard.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something.
Yeah.
What's that?
Doesn't mean that people can't try.
Yeah.
But I think they've just made it easier. There's no screaming and yelling. I played football. I could handle someone getting in my face screaming and yelling at me. A lot of people can't handle that nowadays. That's just how the world's changed.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about how you came to Canada, because I know that's a pretty cool story. How did, first of all, how did you, was Greektown the first promotion you came over here and wrestled for?
Actually, it was not.
No?
The first promotion that I ran for, I believe, well, I can't remember the name of the promotion, what it was called, but it was a zombie show that not Ethan Page, but Ashley Six ran. I think it's what Super Kicked was.
Super Kicked, yeah, that sounds right, because I know they do, yep.
Yeah, and then they had some show, and I've known Ashley Six for about 10, 12 years. I've probably known him and Ethan Page and all them guys for a long time, but and Ethan's been trying to bring me up for Ashley, sorry, was trying to bring me up, and he said, hey, I got this zombie show. I think it'd be great. We got some guy up here named RJ City. He's always a bad guy, but we think that you can, you're the only one that could make him a good guy. And went in there, and they told me that I could say whatever I wanted.
And you're great at that, because I remember the first show in Sarnia. It was you and Jimbo Jones. Do you remember?
Yep.
And I remember clearly you guys didn't. I don't think you guys tied up for a good 15 minutes.
Well, that makes your life a lot easier, doesn't it?
It was honestly, it was amazing to watch, because I think it was one of the most receptive matches that night in terms of the fan reaction and whatnot. And I think that's really why it's evolved you into one of the fan favorites here in Sarnia. Where did you get all that inspiration? Is it from watching guys like Dusty Rhodes growing up and stuff like that? Dusty
Rhodes, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, anybody in the 1980s, they had to talk. I've never been I've always had the firm belief that, less is more in a way, but when you're on the microphone, that's where you're gonna get your that's where you're gonna get your recognition. Mm-hmm. That's where you're not gonna kill your body.
What was your first accomplishment? Biggest accomplishment that you remember in wrestling?
Man, I'm in a War Wrestling Hall of Fame from Lima, Ohio. I'm in their Hall of Fame now. Because we had a match there that drew 1,500 people in a scaffold match, me and a guy named Dusty Dillinger. The scaffold is up like 15, 20 feet, and we've never had a house that big in that town. I'm very proud of that. Bull rope match I had in Cleveland, Ohio with the Duke. It was a bull rope match, AIW in Cleveland. Man, they had that crowd. That show was loaded, and then we went out there and had the style of match that we did. That one, and winning the IWC title is right up there, because guys like CM Punk and all those guys had it
for sure.
It's incredible to think. And then then I had a match just before in Greektown Pro with RJ City, another match with RJ City for Channing Decker's promotion. Channing Decker is one of my best friends in all of wrestling.
And I wanted to, that's where I was going towards with the Greektown stuff, because I do want to talk about Channing. Great guy. He's helped me out huge. He brought Tajiri actually to Sarnia for a signing, and he's been to Sarnia a lot. He wrestled Rhino here, Tommy Dreamer. Yeah, I know he's a huge fan favorite. So let's talk a little bit about that. There's a nice picture there I found from earlier, and I think here's another one from Greektown as well.
Oh yeah, I tell you, Channing Decker, you'd never in your wildest dreams would ever believe sorry, I don't want. Am I allowed to cuss?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, a fucking small town kid from southeastern Ohio in the fucking sticks. I live in a town now, 253 people, that I could make my way up to fucking Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in Greektown, East York, and befriend a beautiful Greek motherfucker like Channing Decker, to where that anytime I go up there, I stay with his parents. They cook me breakfast. I don't go anywhere in Toronto except on the Danforth and Greektown. I fell in love with that place, where I took my family. I took my wife up. I was in a wedding. I wasn't in a wedding, but I went to a wedding up there. And it was a gay wedding, and it was my first experience with that. And it was two good friends of mine, Peter and Adolfo, because down here it's very backward where I live, and it's good that I was able to be a part of that and get to experience, that's it, that's that style of life, and realize that, they are just like anybody else, and people got to realize
Absolutely.
that. But it made me fall in love with different cultures that I've never touched, I've never experienced. Shoot, I grew up and I went to school with one Asian kid and one black kid my whole life, and that's all I met until I was like 18 years old, and I got on a plane and went to Australia for 2 weeks. And you don't talk about a culture shock. But it is no gimmick. I'm a hillbilly, and I've got to live life, and I've got to experience cultures that people I grew up with would never even dream of experiences. And I'm grateful to Channing and them for welcoming me into their family. And
do you guys meet through IWC?
We actually met at that zombie show.
Okay. Yeah.
And they, I cut that promo on RJ, and RJ, it was actually, they lost the fucking footage of it. It was the best promo I ever cut in my fucking life. And they lost goddamn footage of it. Okay. You ask RJ City if you ever talk to him, ask about the promo I cut on him. And we went out there and tore the fucking house down, burnt the fucking car, and me doing my Southern hillbilly shit.
When was this? And
I was going to say it was either 2000. No, it was 2014 because Ohio State won the national championship that year because they played Penn State that night, because I keep up with everything.
Of course. And you're a big Ohio State fan, and I'm sure I probably have a few Michigan fans listening, so you can tell them what you think about them.
That's what I think about you if you're a Michigan fan. You had a great year, dicks.
But yeah, going back to the Channing thing, I know you guys had a lot of memories down there. What's on the horizon for you in 2021? Obviously, if things open back up, and has COVID really affected you in terms of obviously it has with shows and whatnot being not perfect, empty. So,
well, shows in Ohio and Pennsylvania are Ohio is more strict than Pennsylvania is right now. They're being very cautious, except they're letting people attend Browns and Bengal game, but I don't understand how that is. Yeah. But so Ohio is going to be taking a back seat for a little while. I honestly, maybe for the best in some places, because it's not like they only allowed like 100 people in a place when they've got bills that would require 500 people.
100 people for shows?
Yeah, maybe not even that.
Yeah.
It's just making it very hard on these promotions. And some of them are really trying hard to get going, but it might be in their best interest to sit back and chill. But I've been wrestling in West Virginia a good bit, and I live like 2.5 minutes now from the state of West Virginia.
Oh,
and it's like the wild, wild west. Nobody gives a rat's fuck down there.
Yeah.
Like if you get the COVID, oh well, just drink some moonshine and it'll go away. It's kind of what they think about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell. I seen like a post-fight interview he did, and he's basically just like, yeah, that was his attitude basically towards it. I think all the people out there have that attitude towards it. And what have you noticed promotions are taking more precautions now with running and whatnot?
Oh, very much so. They're making you wear your mask. Like Pennsylvania, they're making you wear a mask.
And not obviously during your match.
No, good Lord. Could you imagine covering my mouth up? They couldn't muzzle me. But they're checking your temperatures,
Oh, wow.
I'm here they're going to require in some of these states that you have to get tested like a day or two before. And that's going to hurt promotions because some of those
absolutely
cheap.
The people who can do that are people like the UFC or the WWE or AEW. They can afford stuff like that, but I don't think a lot of these promotions on the lower level, especially here in Canada, I know right now where I am anyways in Ontario, there's a lockdown, so I don't think anybody could run a show right now, even if they wanted to.
And it might be for the best. Let's just sit at home with our.
I think it needed to happen. Yeah, I think it needed to happen. And back in March, shut things down for a month and hopefully see where things were. go, but who knows? Like, who knows where things will go? I'm optimistic. I try to stay as positive as possible. We had a really cool match planned for you when you came back to Sarnia. It was going to be you versus Jimbo. Let's talk about that match first. The first time you were here in Sarnia. Here's a little Samson. This one. Shout out to Philly Cheese Jakes.
The big hot dog.
Yeah, that kind of turned around on you on that match. It was your first time here, and I think at that time you were, what was it? 0-50
maybe.
0-50 something. I know. I remember you telling me when you got here, you need to win a match. Like, I want to win tonight. I want to win a match. I'm going in for the win. And then unfortunately, Jimbo got the better of you that night. And did you end up breaking that record? It was just a Canadian record, right?
It was just Canada. I actually beat RJ City in December of 19.
Oh, okay.
And for it was some reason the people of Greektown were cheering me. Like, I went from hating the people and they went to hate me. We all and the next thing you know, we all hooked up together.
Those Toronto crowds are incredible.
I hooked up with every person in that town.
The king of the one night stand.
I'm only good for one night. I can get dressed real quick.
So what are your plans for 2021?
Honestly, wrestle when I can, spend as much time as I possibly can with my piece of shit wife over here. She's sitting over there cleaning up a Barbie house. That's right, Linda. I'm talking to you. Ratchet. She's not even. You gonna talk shit to me now? You hear this? She's pissed because I drank all her hillbilly wine.
I'm hoping. So has she accepted my offer of special guest refereeing a future match?
You want to be a special guest referee
in Canada?
You want to go to Canada? She don't want to do anything with me. She won't even go to the store with me. Can't get her to do shit. Go back to your cage. Well, it ain't gonna be me. I wrestle the honky tonk man. I do what I want. Sorry,
what have you done with your life?
Yeah, who'd you ever beat?
All right. Well, I think I don't want to take too much more of your time tonight. Maybe we'll just
take as much as you want. I've still got a half a glass of wine left.
Well, perfect. Then I got a few more questions for you. Then
we can talk football. I don't care.
Football? Well, obviously you're pretty excited about your Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, man, I'm telling you right now, for them to play 6 games and still make the playoff, I'm very happy about it.
Yeah,
I understand why people are mad, but you know what? Tough shit.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't been able to watch too much of the college this year. I mean, I'm in college right now, so I've been trying to focus on that stuff from my side of things. But I did watch that game, the game where they won. And obviously, you know who I like. I'm a Sooners fan at heart, but I did go to Ohio State in high school for a track meet, so I do have a little bit of Ohio State in my heart. And of course, Jordan Fuller's killing it for the Rams right now.
Yeah, you got him. You stole him.
Stole. Yeah.
Stole.
Yeah.
He was the reason that defense was clicking at Ohio State for last year. They were really good, and because he was back there being the quarterback, running things.
Mm-hmm.
Just I can't believe him and Tom Brady were the same pick, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he comes in and starts from day one.
Yeah.
Says a lot about him.
Yeah. When did you? How long did you play football for?
I played since I was in 2nd grade.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an Ohio thing, man. It's just like football's bred into you.
Yeah.
Like I got into wrestling, and everyone I played with, almost every older wrestler that I was around played football.
Mm.
Now, very rarely I meet someone that played football that wrestles. Like it's weird how the business has changed. Like with the people that get in it, like I don't know anything about technology. I play the Nintendo Switch with my daughter because she enjoys it, but I don't play video games. That's right. I play the Switch with you. Yeah, I'm not cussing right now because she stepped out of a room, so I'm gonna be good now.
Perfect.
But I don't understand modern stuff.
Yeah.
Only thing I know how to do is go to the bar after a show and drink, and then talk trash to people. Nobody can talk trash like me. No one's got more bullcrap than I do. You ask any woman at any bar that's ever met me, they know that I'm a charming SOB.
What are some of your coolest stories with, like, say, some popular, maybe even some that you probably shouldn't say on air, but can just because you're talking to me?
Oh, what you're eating? You're getting a ring pop, huh? Okay. She got a hillbilly ring pop. Well, I got some. Let me think here. I got thrown out of a Waffle House in Parkersburg, West Virginia, with Buff Bagwell.
No way. How'd that happen?
So it wasn't a Waffle House. It was called an omelet shop, but it's about the same thing except they specialize in omelets, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I took Channing Decker there one night and told him the story because when they came down, Channing and Trent, and I said, "This is what happened." So we spent the night at the strip club with Buff, me and this other kid, all night long, and Buff was being wonderful. Kept buying me and this other kid's lap dances. I mean, we had so many. I think I had 2 or 3 lap dances. He bought all my drinks. All I had to do was drive him around. I'm like, Buff, we're all going to be drunk. But whatever, don't drink and drive. But my first year, and then he's like, "Hey, what do you say we all go to get something to eat?" So I said, "Well, I know the place." And we went to a place called the Omelet Shop, little small hillbilly shack in Parkersburg, West Virginia, right off of State Route 77. We walk in, and mind you, the place specializes in omelets, eggs, right? So we sit down. Beth says, "You guys go ahead and order. I got your food." What a good dude he was. What a wonderful guy. And I think I got biscuits and gravy there, kid. I think he got an omelet or whatever. Buff looks at the guy, lady, and says, "Ma'am, could I get 12 egg whites?" And she says, "What? Huh?" And he says, "I would like 12 egg whites." And she's like, "Sir, I don't think we have that here. I don't think we get that here." And about 15, 20 minutes later, he's screaming and yelling because he's doing something. The next thing you know, he gets up and does that Buff Bagwell strut down the aisleway because he offered to go back and cook them.
No way.
Swear. And they had the midnight. I don't understand what the hell was going on. I'm sitting there eating my food. They made my food, brought it to me, and I'm sitting there eating it. And Buff's still trying to order his egg whites.
Why were you with Buff? Just from a show, or?
I was a young boy having to drive him around.
Oh, no way. Was that obviously when you were a younger wrestler? Yeah.
Yeah, I was year 2 in, I think. Yeah.
Oh, wicked.
So we were driving him around, and so we got kicked out of there, and we ended up walking down the street to another 24-hour hillbilly restaurant, another greasy spoon, called the Mountaineer. And we went in there, and they actually had an egg, a place that didn't specialize in egg whites, knew how to make egg whites.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't believe we got thrown out of a place for egg whites. That's about as PG as I can get, except Buff buying me 2 lap dances that night.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of restaurants, I just seen, did you have your own burger or something made after you?
No, there's a restaurant in Charleston, West Virginia called Squared Circle Burger. It's a wrestling themed hamburger shop.
Yeah. It's
in Campbell's Creek, West Virginia, or Campbell's Creek Road. And they had me in a commercial. It was a good time. And if they're listening, I think they should have a Jock Samson burger.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You've had a lot of really cool experiences throughout your wrestling career, and obviously you plan on doing some more. How long do you plan on wrestling for?
Well, until the money runs up.
Yeah.
I love wrestling. I love it with all my heart. But at the same time, I got to be a realist. If I can't come home with something, I got a kid, I got a mouthy wife that hates my guts. I got to feed her. I got to make sure my kid's got batteries for her hoverboard that I bought. Well, Santa Claus bought.
But mommy ordered.
Oh, mommy ordered it. Okay, she let the cat out of the bag. It's wonderful. Good for her.
Yeah. When I opened it, I was like, I was trying.
This guy brought him. This guy brought it.
That's this guy. That's right. King of the goat.
All right. Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time tonight. I appreciate you joining me, and hopefully we can do this again in the future. We'll talk about some more stuff. Hopefully we can have you back down here again for some shows once we get going again, because I know it's going to be eventually that we can have shows again. Who knows what it'll take, but it'll definitely happen, and we'll definitely have you back down here. On the closing note, of course, last time you were here, the most heat I think anybody's ever gotten for his showing support of Donald Trump. So what's your reaction of everything that's going on in the States right now? I gotta ask.
Scarlett, put the earmuffs on. Put the fingers in yours. It's a big old clusterfuck.
Yeah, it is. I think so.
Mean, a big old clusterfuck.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that some people, they hate Donald Trump, and I'll agree with him, man. I mean, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're trying to tell me Joe Biden's not an asshole?
Oh, of course.
I mean, the fact, they're treating these politicians like they're treating sports teams. They're all pieces of shit. Mitch McConnell is an asshole. Nancy Pelosi's a bitch. They're all, they don't care. Let me tell you, conservatives and liberals, left wing and right wing, they don't care about you because they're giving you $600 on a $900 billion fucking bill.
Yeah.
And where's the rest of that money going? It's going to their retirement funds. So any of you assholes up on your high horse can kiss my ass. Both sides. You're both assholes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sitting here in the middle getting drunk as hell. And I will support whoever the president is. I've always will do that.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing you can do. You can't, and I think that's where I know I get a little bit frustrated with people just because, it doesn't matter who wins it does matter who wins in the end, but it's either way, like you said, it's going to be a clusterfuck, and you just have to basically hunker down and be ready for what's to come, because I don't think it'll change too much with the way you live life. I know a lot of people tell me like the coronavirus has really impeded the way they live their life, but from my point of view, it really hasn't to this point, up until other than when they just put this lockdown in place. I'm not working for a month, but this is the first time I'm in school, so it doesn't really affect me. And if it did, I'm sure I'd go out and try and find a job and not complain about it. I'd do what I can to try to obviously support things. And on the wrestling side of things, I think that's the way you just have to look at things. You have even, I think during the lockdown, you were staying busy and putting out content, right? Like you put out a match throughout the lockdown, I believe, right?
Yeah, I did an empty arena match with Casey King. I beat him for the empty. It was in Ironton, Ohio.
Yeah, Linda's favorite.
Title. Linda's friend. I beat him for the belt. Then I actually just beat him for the Pro Wrestling Conquest belt, which their next show is going to be January 29th in St. Albans, West Virginia. And I beat him for that belt. And I won the IWC belt, and I just lost it, unfortunately, in a triple
See, what's
threat.
crazy is I can come over and watch a show. I could take a plane and come see a show in the States. I'd obviously have to quarantine and whatnot, but I can come and see a show over there. But we can't even have a show of 10 people over here in Canada. So maybe I think if things keep going the way they are, maybe I'll come down and watch you sometime, and we can have a good time down in Ohio.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. You let me know, man.
Yeah.
Stay here.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can, the Buckeyes too, we can go check out a game. We can watch them beat the Wolverines.
Fuck Michigan. That's the worst thing about driving up to Sarnia is I had to drive through there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. It was the quickest border though to go over, right?
My God,
they don't even care there.
I was getting ready to make explanations, and he's like, "Oh, whatever, get out of here." Okay,
Brian Pillman Jr. told me the exact same thing. It was the easiest border he's ever crossed.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What? Are you kidding me, buddy?" Sure, and I almost missed the duty free.
Yeah,
it was so small. I was like, "Oh, there it is!" Like, my God.
All right, Jock. Well, I won't take any more of your time tonight. Thanks again so much for joining me. We'll do it again sometime. This has been the second episode of the Chem Valley Show. I hope you've enjoyed it. And thanks again, Jock. Well, like I said, we'll do it again sometime. Enjoy your last drink.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and
Christmas.
Take care. All right, so that was Jock Samson joining me for the second episode of the Chem Valley Show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments. Check it out on YouTube. It'll be up on the YouTube channel after this. And if you do enjoy it, give it a subscribe, a like, and I really appreciate it. So have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow with another cool interview.